We just made it to the motel and we are about to head inside of a cave. We'll be recording it and we'll see you in the cave. Okay, I'm just gonna record a little hike. Maybe like 30 minutes before the whole thing starts. Hooray, did it! Alright guys, we're going straight down to
nobody really wants to see the whole thing and see this part, but I knew if we had any just stuck in the caves.
just going down to the cave now. Yep, we're not at the entrance.
So far.
Are we gonna go like down to water?
Huh?
Are we gonna go down like to water?
See what we see.
Oh. Okay, guys, we're.
So I'd like to say this before we get started. If at any point you want to take a picture of something, and I'm in the picture, and you don't want me in the picture, just tell me to move. I won't be offended. I know that you don't want me in your pictures.
Well, I want him in the video.
Let's talk about how this cave got here, right? Because it's one thing to be in it, but it's another thing to know how it got here and like appreciate it for what it is. So we live in an area in the Appalachian region. We're kind of in the Appalachian foothills here, where we exist in a place where we have karst topography. And karst essentially means that we have a lot of limestone. And limestone itself is a rock that's made of a mineral mostly called calcite, right? Now calcite itself is made up of an element called calcium, which is easily dissolved by acids. But I'm kind of getting ahead of myself there whenever I say that, because we have to figure out how this limestone got here. So this limestone exists because this entire area used to be underwater as an ocean. And calcite itself is a mineral that's also found within the bones and shells of sea life. So things like corals, mollusks, so squid, octopus, clams, those things, as well as, you know, your crabs, crustaceans, isopods at the time, right? But as those animals died, their remains left their calcite behind, and then the sediment deposited on top of them, leaving this limestone layer that we're currently standing inside of. So back to the whole calcite being dissolved by acid thing, right? So think back to what you know about calcium. Where is it found?
Bones.
In our bones, our teeth, right? And whenever we drink acidic things like soda, pop, tea, right, coffee, those acids eat away at your teeth because of the calcium that's in them. Same thing happens here. Our water is slightly acidic. It has carbonic acid in it. And because of that, where this was an underground river, the wall, ceiling, and floor got eaten away by our groundwater. So this is why we have this opening. Now there's no water in here currently because the water table has dropped. So the groundwater level is lower than what we currently are, though we will see where it's going. So we're walking through essentially a dry underground riverbed, okay? Now if you're looking at the ceiling, you'll notice all these things hanging down. These things are called stalactites, and they are in the classification of dripstone. So if you've been dripped on, congratulations, you're now part of the cave, right? So the cave formations themselves came after the cave was already formed. So there's a fancy way of calling them, they're called a speleothem. So they formed after the cave was formed, whereas this hole that we have up here is a speleogit. So it formed while the cave was forming. The actual home itself is called a kettle bottom. And what happens is water got stuck there, so it spun there and acted like a screwdriver or a drill and just drilled upwards to create the dome shape. But stalactites and stalagmites that we're going to see in the cave today, it takes about 100 to 150 years for them to grow 1 cubic inch. So when you're looking at them, you can really appreciate their age by
years?
just
Wow.
Coming up with what you think their volume is, right? And a good way to do that is just look at length. Length is a good starting point. Now, if you look around this room, we have stalactites all over the place, but typically where you have stalactites, you also have stalagmites. And you can remember the difference because stalactites hold tight to the ceiling. Stalagmites, you might trip over them, right? But if we're looking, for instance, right here, there's a stalactite right here, right? Nice and big, but directly underneath it, there should be a stalagmite. Nothing. And that's because the people that owned this cave before we became proprietors of this cave cut the stalagmites out of this room. Now the reason they did that makes a little bit of sense monetarily because they needed to compete with the Lewis family, which owned the main body of Carter Caves. Meade family here had 1 cave, this one. Lewis family had 3. That cave, X cave, saltpeter. And they did tours. So if you as a family, where are you going to go? One with the 3. So in order to draw more people in, they actually cut the stalagmites out of this room, which you think might be counterintuitive, but what they use this room for makes a lot of sense. They use this room as a ballroom. So they have dances in here. So they would set up a band, and people would do square dancing and stuff in here. So this was also around the time of the 1920s, so Prohibition. So some other stuff might have been going on there. Especially with that nice freshwater spring that we have running through our cave. Right? I didn't say it. Okay. Steve, may I have any questions for me? I just said a lot of things.
How low is the water?
So we're going to see the top of the water table as we go forward. But we're looking at about 60 feet down. Any other questions? Okay, we're going to start our way forward through the cave. If there's ever going to be a place that we're going to see bats, it's going to be directly in front of us. So here's something to note. Bats hate 2 things, sound and light. We are bringing to them sound and light. So if the bats, whenever we do see them, if they start flying, they're flying to get away from you, not to you. So chill out. Also note, they're very, very small. Like they weigh 20 grams. They can't do anything to you. So don't scream. Hopefully we see them. I hear them, so maybe they have.
Whoa, this is cool. I've never been in a cave before. Is this where people actually slept in the old days?
Huh?
People slept here?
At some point, somebody slept here.
Oh, there's a bat up there, isn't there? Huh? A little bat.
Oh, yeah.
There's bats.
Yeah.
So,
What? There's actually bats
the
over
state
there.
of Kentucky,
Bats.
the state of Kentucky has 12 different bat species. Of those 12, 4 of those bat species live here on the park. Okay? So of the 4 bat species, we have the big brown, the little brown, The tricolor bat and what we have right here, these are Indiana bats. Now we love seeing Indiana bats because they are considered endangered, which means they're threatened to become extinct. So when we see them, we know that they are still, alive and kicking. But I know these are Indiana bats because Indiana bats differ from other three species in that they are colonial, so they'll exist in clumps, right? So if I'm looking up there, there's probably bats, 2 of them don't even drink the blood of mammals. 1 of them does. It lives in Central South America, drinks the blood of livestock. And we're actually using its saliva as an anticoagulant or a blood thinner in medicine. So we're getting our full use of the bat, right? Now, we happen to have something detrimental happening to our bat species. We have a fungus in our cave that I mentioned called white nose fungus. And it's already on your skin, it's already on your clothes, it's on your shoes. Fortunately for you, it doesn't affect a human in any sort of way. However, on our bats, it's a big deal. It can actually kill 90% of the hibernating bat population in winter. So when you're looking at the ceiling of a cave and you see 100,000 bats in one area, think about 90,000 of those bats disappearing and only 10,000 remain, right? That being said, that's a huge cut in the amount of animals that can keep in check pest control, right? So it's a huge wave in our ecological impact of the bats. That also being said, what happens to our bats during their hibernation is essentially they go into a state in which their heart rate decreases so that they can last through the winter with only their fat reserves, so they're not using a ton of energy, right? Unfortunately, what the fungus does is it grows on their skin kind of the same way athlete's foot does. And it makes them really, really itchy. And whenever they get really itchy, they wake up out of hibernation.
They're squeaking.
And then their heart rate speeds back up, their metabolism increases, they go through the fat reserves very quickly, and they starve to death. Because there are no flying insects for them to eat during that time. So, what can we do about it? Inside the cave, the answer is nothing. Because it's not like we can come through and disinfect a cave. There's too many crevices, too many rocks. And that being said, if we were to spray an antifungal in here, that would get rid of all the fungus in the cave. And that's detrimental to the ecosystem of the cave because fungus are a decomposer, so they're getting rid of all the waste materials on the floor. However, we can't catch the bats either. And then disinfect them because they'll just come back in the cave and get reinfected. What we can do, however, is keep it from spreading off the park. So what we're going to do whenever we leave is we're going to walk across a white nose station to disinfect the bottoms of our shoes so that we're not carrying it from place to place. As for your clothes and your body, we know that you'll probably take a shower, at least by how you all smell when you're ready to take a shower. And then wash your clothes, right? So you'll do those things, but washing your shoes is probably not at the top of the priorities. So we'll do that thing.
Whoa. Sometimes caves are even really bad to have their own weather. Diamonds.
Hands like that. So going back to our idea of those cave diamonds, right? If we're looking at the ceiling, we're going to see spots where they exist, right? But here, they're less and less concentrated than they were. And even still, if I look down this hallway, less and less. But like I said, they do point toward exits. So if I look down this hallway, there's a ton of them. All right? And that's because we're headed to the place where the bats get in and out of the cave. So if you're wondering how the heck are the bats getting in if I shut lock the door, they get in through here. But this is probably my favorite part of this cave, and that's the lake room. So that's what they did. We're going to see a little bit more. Turn off some lights for us, but we're going to see some running water.
Okay, guys, we're going out.
No bad.
Hey, Dad, how did you like the bat? I like bats, and my screen is completely dark.
You should see the bats in Okinawa.
Oh, look, water.
They're monsters.
Yeah, there's a bunch of water. So much water. Yeah, hold your hand. Going down these slippery steps.
I'll hold the rail in your hand.
I want to get the water on camera.
Oh, see, that's the opening. You see the sun out there? That's how they get in.
Oh, yeah. Everything is water.
Yeah, people can come to that way too.
This cave is really muddy. This cave is really muddy. Wait, Dad, look, there's more water.
I know.
Guys, that's water. It's a huge rock.
So you have to get some cold water, baby.
Okay, guys, this will be the end of the video. Okay, guys, this is not the end of the video.
of Cascade. So this room has a lot to offer for a lot of different reasons. So obviously the large opening where the water is leaving the cave.
After the next room,
There's
guys,
also a place
we're
where
gonna
bats
video.
can come in and out of the cave pretty freely. However, that's also another place where things can come in and out of the cave, like raccoons, possums, squirrels, chipmunks. Basically getting small
Hey guys, I hope you like the video.
uh,
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
birds, reptiles, maybe occasionally a snake. They'll actually climb the